Looking at the massive ring of Apple Park, it is easy to see the scale of the shift happening right now in consumer technology. Artificial intelligence has officially left the chat window. We're moving out of the era of standalone browser tabs and straight into an invisible phase, where these models are baked directly into the devices already sitting in our pockets. Take Apple's upcoming iOS 27 update. It introduces local editing tools like Extend, which lets you literally draw scenery beyond the original edge of a photo by simply stretching it with your fingers. There is also Reframe, which lets you change the spatial perspective of a shot after taking it. All of this generative heavy lifting happens entirely locally, right on the iPhone itself. The update also pushes a new Siri camera mode, deeply integrating Apple's visual intelligence into the native app. Soon, you will be able to point your lens at a packaged food item and instantly log its nutritional data, or scan a flyer to pull contact details directly into your phone book, parsing the physical world with zero friction. This frictionless layer is extending straight into the living room, too. Google TV is rolling out an onboard Gemini assistant that generates custom images and dynamic slideshows right on your television. Using integrated AI models like Nano Banana and Veo, users can animate still photos or completely alter family pictures using simple voice commands. For the average consumer, the experience is becoming one of total ease. Highly complex computing has been sanded down into an interface that makes the underlying technology disappear entirely into the hardware. This invisible, frictionless reality has also conquered the high-end creative space, tearing down the barrier to entry for professional workflows. Anthropic's Claude model is now natively integrated into heavyweight software like Blender, Adobe Premiere, and Ableton. It can analyze 3D scenes, track down bugs, and write custom Python scripts to automate modeling tasks, all without the user ever needing to open a manual or look up a single line of documentation. This animated diagram shows exactly what is happening under the hood to make that seamless magic possible. It illustrates Apple's newly developed Ladder framework. When you ask the AI a question, Ladder doesn't guess the next word one by one. It uses parallel diffusion, splitting a single prompt into multiple distinct reasoning paths, represented by these diverging shapes. It tests several ideas simultaneously. Once the model evaluates those routes, it collapses them back down, merging the best logic into a single, highly accurate final answer. The front-end user experience is practically flawless. But the sheer computational weight required to simulate this level of human-like reasoning carries a massive hidden price tag that is currently being hidden from the public. If you peel back that pristine user interface, you find a very different back-end reality. The companies providing this effortless magic are trapped in a desperate, cash-burning race simply to survive. This portrait of CEO Sam Altman captures the face of an industry at a critical financial crossroads. Despite raising $122 billion in its latest funding round, data shows OpenAI is actively missing its own targets for ChatGPT user growth. That massive influx of capital is struggling to cover the burn rate. Internal projections reveal an alarming truth. Because the cost of raw computing power is so astronomically high, OpenAI could completely run out of cash by the middle of 2027 if they do not secure another massive financial lifeline. Look at this massive Oracle office building to understand the desperate scale of their survival strategy. To feed their models, OpenAI proposed a $300 billion agreement with Oracle to build the energy infrastructure for a 4.5 gigawatt data center. The moment OpenAI's internal struggles became public, the market reacted instantly. Looking at the canopy of the NVIDIA campus, you can see where the ripples hit the hardest. NVIDIA stock dropped, AMD fell 4%, CoreWeave and Oracle dipped 5%, and SoftBank plunged almost 10% in Tokyo, directly exposing the vulnerability of the hardware titans propping up this entire ecosystem. The physical infrastructure, the silicon chips, and the immense electrical power required to sustain the seamless user illusion are actively cannibalizing the financial stability of the companies trying to build it. This extreme pressure is driving highly erratic economic behavior. We are seeing traditional asset valuation completely detached from reality. This quiet, high-angle shot shows a residential neighborhood in Mill Valley, California. Right now, an investment banker is attempting to sell a $4.75 million 5-acre property here, but he refuses to accept cash. Instead, he is demanding the buyer pay exclusively in private shares of the AI startup Anthropic. As financial exuberance peaks, heavy legal and geopolitical friction is stepping in to choke the industry. That starts here with Elon Musk, who has launched an aggressive, high-stakes lawsuit against OpenAI. Musk's core accusation is straightforward. He claims that OpenAI, an organization he helped fund with $38 million, abandoned its founding nonprofit mission to safely advance humanity, pivoting entirely into an unchecked vehicle for corporate profit. The second layer of friction is coming directly from the federal government. The White House, shown here, is actively pushing back against Anthropic's plans to expand access to a powerful new AI cybersecurity model called Mythos. Federal officials have a dual fear regarding Mythos. First, that bad actors could weaponize its vulnerability hunting software to attack national infrastructure. And second, that a wider release would drain so much of Anthropic's computing power that the model would become useless to the government agencies actively relying on it. The entire artificial intelligence ecosystem is caught in a brutal vice grip. It is being squeezed on one side by irrational financial exuberance and crushed on the other by bitter legal feuds and strict national security blockades. The technology itself is succeeding, integrated, capable, and increasingly invisible. Yet the business models required to keep those models running are facing an unprecedented structural strain. Every single time you make a seamless, incredibly cheap generative request on your phone, you are actually spending a heavy subsidy. That momentary convenience is paid for by volatile venture capital and a massive growing energy debt. There is an immense disconnect between the simple, magical experience resting in your palm and the high-stakes corporate survival war burning inside the distant data centers powering it. This current economic storm is forcing a massive industry reckoning. These companies are now racing against the clock, testing whether they can actually scale their computing power and invent cheaper physical infrastructure before the funding well dries up entirely. The next time you effortlessly extend the border of a photograph with a quick tap, take time to recognize the multi-billion-dollar war burning in the background to make that second possible. Enjoy the magic while it lasts, because the bill is coming due.
Thank you for watching. For more professional AI insights, remember to like this video and subscribe to AI Corecast.